Ah,
You can do it.
before you do that, we are gonna go ahead and jump into show and tell. I need to post about that, but
Okay.
I need to figure out. Channel already has an active event. How do I stop the one event? And then
There you go.
go to the other. Oh, end event. Okay, there it is. It's hidden by like the 3 dots of death. Okay. And now we start this event. Start the event. All right. All right. All right. Okay. And then let me put out a general call. If I do at here in this, don't do anything. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Somebody's a little upset.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but I could hear it.
It's not me.
That's my grandma coming to beat me with a rolling pin.
Oh no.
You said that sounds quieter than Tom?
Yeah, you sound a little louder now. But I do have you on 200% volume, Khenan.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, even now you're still pretty quiet.
Alright, let me test some now.
You gotta stop leaning, bro.
Does that sound better?
Can you try again?
Does that sound better? I switched my mic.
If I'm like the baseline, maybe because I can't hear myself.
Yeah, see, you sound good, Tom. Also, hi, Tom.
Hello.
But yeah, Khenan, you still sound quieter than Tom, like by like a good bit.
All right. Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna. Hopefully that at here. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm gonna use it. I figure if people are like online, it won't help or it won't hurt to get a little ping task if anyone wants to do show and tell. If anyone in this channel would like to do a show and tell section before we get into the main event for tonight, go ahead and drop a message in that Discord channel that we have in the Chat and Chew stream channel thing. I forget what we always call this, the text chat that's associated with the voice chat. I made a post in there, and so if anyone wants to do show and tell there, again, as always, we like to start with really quick, rapid fire, 5-minute show and tell sections. If anyone's working on anything cool in the community, we always love to see it and hear about it. So let me know if anyone is interested in doing that. So pull up all the official business. I don't have my cool green screen or my fancy effects or my things. I'm so sad. I feel like naked.
It was nice coming into the stream with no context, seeing you just waving your arms around in a dark room, Tom.
Yes, that actually is quite unfortunately probably going to happen very soon because I'm the last one in the office and the motion sensor for the lights is over there.
Yeah.
And so for any time the lights go off, I have to dance
Yeah.
like this. And it takes quite a while sometimes for them to turn back on. So we can either have Tom in the dark or dancing Tom, who may eventually turn the lights back on. So I'm trying to think if I have anything show and tell worthy.
Can you talk about the thing you just told me about?
What did I just tell about? Getting approved by Logic for Switch.
Yeah.
Probably not. I was trying to think of. I would love to actually do a little talk when all is said and done about getting like my team's experience, our very first experience releasing on Nintendo Switch. I feel like would be a really good. I don't. Again, so much of it is like NDA stuff, but I feel like I could generalize a lot of it and talk kind of generally about what we did and some of the obstacles that we faced getting on it. I don't know how I would do that in a 5-minute talk or how I would get around some of the secretive stuff in a streamed talk like this, but I will do some more noodling on that and see. But I would like to do that maybe for a talk in the future.
Cool.
And if anyone is just joining us, we are going to get started here very shortly. But if anyone's interested in doing a show and tell for tonight, we always start the meetings looking at what amazing things the community is working on. And it's a very low stakes, like 5-minute kind of informal presentation about whatever cool thing you're working on. Doesn't even have to be a game. It can be whatever cool thing you are creating or whatever is kind of on your mind that you're looking for feedback on. We love to see what people are doing. I don't know if I can show that everything too. Everything is NDA'd.
I'm going to have some for next go around that I'm excited to show.
Oh boy, cool.
We were talking about Nintendo Switch. It doesn't look like any of the devs are in here, but I finally got my hands on a copy of Addams Family Mansion Madness and started playing that. And the Switch version is so much fun. So
Nice.
I got to go through and start messaging Steph and the other folks who made that and let them know that I'm really loving it.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you played it?
I did not play. I played Addams Family at Indie Arcade, but I didn't get a chance to play through all the way. I played Ben 10. Oh, and I had played the Super League Super Pet dog flying thing. It was The Rock, but I don't think they got the voice actor The Rock, but it was really cute. And you can like help these people adopt these pets, and it's really cute. If anyone has Xbox Game Pass, I feel like a lot of PHL's Collectives games are on there right now.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw that pop up and I was like, oh my god, I know these people. The Xbox Game Pass website is down, but if you search for it's usually listed under the publisher Outright Games.
Outright, yeah.
I believe they're like a publisher, developer, partner, whatever. Yeah, I see the DC League of Super Pets, The Adventures of Crypto and Ace, is now streaming on Xbox Game Pass.
That's awesome.
So you can get it for that, or you can buy it for $40, or you can stream it on Game Pass. So there you go.
Cool.
And then also I think is Adam's Family on Game Pass 2? I don't know.
Keenan, you want to go ahead and test your mic?
Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm sounding any better right now.
You're quiet.
Talk again, Tom.
Not really.
Hello, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 3.
You're still a little low, but on the stream, I'll be able to bump you up and bring everybody else down just a little bit.
Okay, sure. Wait, let me see.
So, because I have you at 200%. I don't know about everybody else, but I got Keenan at 200%.
I have Khenan at 200% as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's see here. Yeah, I'm seeing if I can boost up my. How's that?
Oh yeah, that got really loud.
How's it? All right, that's better.
Oh yeah, way better.
Okay. All right, we're doing good here.
What
All right, sounds
magic
good.
did you just perform?
I switched my driver, my microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody hear about this Nintendo AR game demo thing? I don't know how
No.
old that is though.
Nintendo AR.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it now, but I'll drop the link so curious people can take a look.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. So, are we transitioning?
Yeah, so I will go ahead. I guess I don't see any takers for show and tell tonight, and that is okay because we have lots of really exciting content planned for tonight anyway. Oh, we have a taker for show and tell. Yes, I am always pushing. I don't care how much or how little it is. I want to see what everyone is working on. So yeah, Leafbuckets, I would love to have you. I'll sign you up for show and tell. Before that, so let me just like make a note. Show and tell. Buckets. Before we do that, I will get into a really quick announcement. All right, show and tell agenda is there. If at any point in the next like 3 minutes, anyone else wants to join in, then yeah, go ahead and drop a post in the chat and to text chat that we have going next to our voice chat here. All right, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another Philly Game Mechanics meetup. Today we have a really exciting meeting. We're going to be listening to a retrospective. I don't like to call them postmortems because that's like really sad. Because it sounds like everyone's died. Yeah, and I feel like games never die, right? They're forever on the internet. And so I'm calling it a retrospective. So we're going to hear a lot about the actual development of the game and what went into creating it and publishing it on Steam in just a handful of months, which is really incredible. We had some of the developers speak in previous meetings during show and tells and whatnot, but I thought it would be really great just for the entire community, and also because a lot of the people in the community worked on the game and putting it out there. So I thought this would be a really great opportunity to kind of reflect on that, and is something that I think we'd like to encourage as much as possible of creating games for game jams or just kind of short productions and actually putting it out there on Steam and other platforms and getting eyeballs in front of it, and just having that experience under your belt is so great. So I'm so excited to hear what the developers here have to talk about tonight. We'll introduce that in just a minute. But before we get into like the official programming, we're going to start with show and tell, which I've been talking about. We'll do these really short 5-minute presentations. Before all of that, just a few announcements. First of all, again, thank you and welcome to Philly Game Mechanics. We have a code of conduct at Philly Game Mechanics, which you can find on phillygamemechanics.com/code of conduct, conduct, not contact. You can also find it in our rules channel on the Discord, which I am sharing now. If you scroll up past the little reaction robot, you can see here there's like a kind of a truncated version of it, but then also a full version, over here on the website. It's pretty short, but it's really important to note that this code of conduct applies to any physical events, but of course also to our digital space as well. So please take a moment to check that out and familiarize yourself with it. We also have a Patreon for Feely Game Mechanics. So if you like what we are doing and want to help support the community and all of our ongoing community efforts, you can go ahead and join the 39 brave patrons that we have in making all of this a reality. We're going to be continually updating this, hopefully more in the near future. It's been a little while since we've gotten a chance to touch up on all of these things due to the pandemic and lots of other logistic changes. But this is something we are going to be updating hopefully in the somewhat near future. But in the meantime, if you'd like to support Feely Game Mechanics, this would be the place to do that. And then, of course, a lot of the programming we're doing takes place on our Feely Game Mechanics Discord. And so if you're not watching us on the Discord, please join it. You can find a link to that on our website at feelygamemechanics.com. Right up here for the Discord icon. And one final note, as I just mentioned, this stream is being, or this discussion tonight is being streamed on YouTube right now. And so just for anyone who is present and participating, just please note that we have the audience here that's within the chat, but there is another potential audience that could be watching this on YouTube, either currently live right now or far off in the future. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're participating and contributing, that we are going to be streaming this and archiving this for the future. So just keep that in mind for being on camera or anything you're saying, that it may be viewed by people outside of this Discord. And if you have any concerns or questions about that, feel free to message myself or Woody here. And then I guess the final thing that I said, the other one will be fine, but this is the final thing, is following up from our last meeting. We had a really great planning meeting, a community-wide planning meeting, and I think covered a lot of really great topics, and are super excited to do more with the programming and the events that we have coming up for Feely Game Mechanics. But to do that, we need help from everyone across the community. And so if you are interested in getting involved with helping make cool things happen around Feely Game Mechanics, we do have a spreadsheet that we've created that I don't think we should probably repost this. I think I posted in the general one, but we should probably repost again. There's a chat, a channel in Discord called PGM-planning. That is where we're going to be talking about some of the different events and initiatives that we're planning for the Feely Game Mechanics community. We have a cool little spreadsheet that we put together for organizing who might want to be involved in what aspect. And that ranges from things like in-person events to digital events to social media and marketing to managing, updating our Patreon, and so on and so forth. So there are lots and lots of different ways to have everyone be involved in the community. Feely Game Mechanics can really only operate because we have a lot of people contributing amazing content in the community. So if you're interested in getting more involved in the planning side of things, even in things like running game jams or running meetings like this, definitely drop by the PGM planning channel and check out the spreadsheet that we have floating in there. Before the meetings, before these general meetings, we'll sit down and have planning meetings for everyone to discuss what we want to do next as a community. So kind of check all of that stuff out. And then I guess on that note, do you have anything specifically? Because I know we recently had a planning meeting about a potential in-person event. Is there anything that you would want to add to that, Woody? Because I know that you were kind of part of that meeting.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, we had a meeting and we ended up talking, and kind of one of the things that came up was talking about how the folks at UArts were wanting to have more community-oriented events there, and so we're reaching out to UArts about potentially having an event there. But basically, the short version is that we would like to have the next kind of in-person party sometime around like mid-November. So it'd be kind of on like a nice like late spring and then early fall schedule of like having parties a couple times a year. And so as soon as we hear back from them, hopefully we'll be able to let you all know and start putting some marks on your calendar to do that, because the last party was super fun to just get together, eat a bunch of food, and drink drinks and just kind of shoot the shit. So yeah, it'd be cool to do that again. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then the one other thing, this isn't really show and tell, but we also do have a link tree now. And so, if folks are wanting to point their friends towards, PGM, this is like a really nice way to do it. And also all the things that Tom mentioned earlier about the Patreon and the website and all that kind of stuff is all linked on there. So, I was working on that a bit today, and, if you click on it and you look at it, then that is my show and tell.
Yay.
Yeah. Or if you notice anything that needs to be corrected, because as I was working on it, I noticed like about 100 things that needed to be corrected. So I was just please let me know.
Awesome.
Looks good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like the background. The background's cool.
Yeah, that was by far the cutest one by a landslide.
All right, great. Okay, well, I think without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into a really short show and tell section, again, before jumping into the main course for tonight. So yeah, do we want to have our presenter today? Go ahead and feel free to take the stage. If they're ready.
Can you hear me right now?
I think so.
Somewhat. Can you see the screen right now? So yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
we hear
Just
you.
something. So I've been recently beat like the first two Deadspace games, and I've been really enjoying them. But I hate that I can't play them with my son. So I've been kind of working on a kiddie version of Deadspace. Very, very slowly, but little by little. But yeah, I just have, I kind of repurposed a little like knight character that I made that used to be my icon. I just changed it today, but just changed his colors a bit. But yeah, I just have like a little character.
Oh no, Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. um,
Oh, I think we just lost his mic.
can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh.
right now, a bunch of content to add, a bunch of whole mechanics.
Oh, he's going in and out for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it's trying to do like a noise canceling thing or something. I don't know. It's kind of fading in and
Can you hear me now? Is
Yeah,
that better?
that's way
Okay.
better.
Okay. Yeah, it's not much, but yeah, just kind of working on a little character controller right now, just making sure aim feels the right way. I still got a lot of content to add, but yeah, that's it really.
That's cool.
My
Oh,
question is if it's like Dead Space for kitties, are all the aliens going to be kind of like cute versions of what you would normally encounter
Yeah,
in
I mean,
that
my
game?
thought, yeah, things so like Deadspace, it's like you're gonna shoot the limbs. So this is gonna be you gotta shoot the eyes. So if you're familiar with like Real Monsters, you know the guy that like has the little eyeballs in his hands, maybe like some enemies like that. Like I don't know, just anything with eyes. I figured it would be easy, just have them close their eyes and then you can't shoot them, and then you gotta figure out wait till they do. I don't know, something like that. I can't remember honestly. I think I added some force to him. It's or he does it's an animation, but I'm also adding force to it. So if you shoot him enough, he pops up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yep, but it's slow going, but every now and then, little by little, actually it'll blossom. But also pumped to play the remake and the was it Callisto Protocol coming out? Of course, I can't play them with my son, so that's why I'm doing this.
Probably
Yep.
just based on the little previews that I've seen, probably not
Oh
good
yeah,
options.
no, definitely not.
Great. All right, well, thank you so much. And certainly if anyone has any other questions or anything like that, again, feel free to drop in the chat or anything. But yeah, that's awesome stuff. Again, we love seeing projects from every phase of development. So please definitely keep us updated as you keep working on it. It's a very good, like, if you're going like a kind of spooky direction a little bit with like monsters, very good like seasonal game as well. Very spooky in the mood. I feel like everyone's already like 100,000% like the Halloween mood. I know I'm definitely there too. All right, well, thank you so much. And that will kind of conclude a pretty short show and tell section. Again, if anyone is ever working on anything cool and wants to share it with the community, at the start of every meeting, we aim to provide a stage for that. So definitely feel free to start thinking about what you want to do next time for next meeting. All right, well, for today and the rest of this evening, I'm very excited to be joined by some of the developers from Third Power. Right off the bat, I want to immediately link the Steam page for the game. So, I had that and now it's gone, and now it is here. I'm gonna put this in the chat that we have going on. This is Third Power, and it was, again, created by a number of developers here in the community. And today we're going to be joined by a few of the developers, starting with Khenan. And they're going to kind of talk through some of the development challenges and lessons that they learned. Again, open it up to any questions from the audience. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, if you just want to kind of jot them down in the chat, there will be kind of a section at the very end where we can really get into all of that stuff. If the presenters, if you want to address them as you're going, that's cool too. But if you just want to save them all for the end, you're free to do that as well. Whatever feels the most natural and works for you all. But yeah, otherwise, I think we are free to take it away.
All right, I'll go ahead and just get it started then. Let's see here. Let me share my screen, turn my camera on. All right, everybody can see the content up on the screen here.
I can see and hear. Everything's great.
All right. So I actually did a whole mic switch. You know, like while we were talking about transitioning into show and tell and stuff like that. So hopefully I sound a lot better. I'm a lot clearer, right? Can I get some feedback?
Clear as a bell.
All right, awesome, sounds good. All right, yeah. So, yeah, thank everybody for tuning in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get it started off. I'm calling this the Third Power Project Postmortem. I know you don't like that word, Tom. But I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this as a great opportunity. You know, rather than it being, you know, the project dying, because the project's doing well. Like, I forgot. I'll talk more about the details of like the Steam page in a little bit. But yeah, I feel like this. I love the fact that I'm here and doing this. Because I feel it's a great opportunity. Like I was just about to say, to encourage people here to do what we did because the results were awesome. I really loved the way the game came out. I really loved the process, and if anything, like I don't know how, but I ended up loving game development more because of it. Maybe it's because of the whole making a bigger game process and like the working on it for a longer period of time. So yeah, so I'm going to speak, and then our UI designer, no, it's going to be our writer that's going to speak, and then our UI designer is going to speak. And talk about our 3 different perspectives on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us started. Clicking through. So my name is Khenan Newton. I am the project manager and lead programmer of Third Power. My role covered managing the timeline, task management, delegating things out, keeping everybody on track, keeping our goals in mind during the whole process. And I also led the programming, and the link to this presentation is going to be a version that y'all can look at and reference as you watch. And if you have any questions about anything, maybe you can take some notes and look at a particular slide that you might be interested in looking at while listening at the same time, right? Because we don't want to ignore what I'm saying, right? All right. And in that presentation, you'll be able to click on these LinkedIn buttons here, which will take you all to our LinkedIns. Mine's right here, and then you'll see Kelsey's and Irene's when they go. So yeah, I'll get started. So just as an overview, Third Power is a stealth puzzler. So we had the idea to set up a dungeon where you turn into a cube and you want to solve puzzles, and those puzzles will be linked with dodging enemies, avoiding enemies. There's no like attack system or anything like that. You're creeping around and solving puzzles to get through a maze of dungeons, right? And it was the goal for this project was for us to simply improve our portfolios, strengthen them, really dig into more of what the game development process is like, which is one of the reasons why we planned to do it for as long as we did. We wanted to release something on Steam and be like, hey, like we did it. We did the whole process. And let me tell you, was it a process? That it was. We're going to get more into that. So this was actually a 15-person team, which might seem like a little bit like, wow, like why are there so many people? But because of the circumstances of the project, there's good reason for there being 15 people. 5 of those 15 people come directly from PGM. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll name them in a little bit because y'all gonna see the list of team members on the next slide, next couple slides. So yeah, we started May 15th, and released the game on September 1st. So that makes the whole development process about 3.5 months. And we found our team, through PGM, of course, and a number of them, through Discord. Discord is fantastic for finding team members. If you ever wonder, like, hey, where can I find great people that's going to want to work on a game jam with me, just stick to Discord. Or Reddit, going to Reddit. And we had actually worked on a couple smaller games before this too. So like there was also like that already had a Steam and already had a team established type aspect to it too. So so a lot of us, we had worked on projects already, and a few of us we had pulled right on for Third Power using Discord and Reddit. Let's see. We want it. And yeah, so like a little breakdown of our team, 15 people, like you can kind of see we have a split by our art section, we have our music, we have our tech. And let's see here. So yeah, the 5 of us that were from PGM, of course, myself, Kelsey, Irene, Mark Samani, who was our composer, and Obert, who was one of our programmers. And I also want to provide a link to our GitHub repo. You can go right into that link that I sent with the actual slides, and if you're following along, you'll see the link right there. You could go right to the public repo. I wanted to leave that available for anyone who wanted to see how some of the code is set up, because we did a lot of cool things like it's integrated with Fmod. No, not Fmod. It's integrated with WIs, like in terms of audio engineering. And so if anybody wants to look at that, look at some of the tools and methods that we use to put mechanics together, and features that we had in the game was like I was talking about before, like that cube tumbling. Yeah, I know you can see that right there. You can see like it's like a little prototype cube for just flipping along. That was me kind of like first getting that established with some of the 3D assets starting to get established as well. Doing some testing. It was really cool putting those two things together, like planning what the project was going to look like and how that was going to work with this cube flipping mechanic, because the levels needed to kind of like line up a lot of the time with the cube flipping. It was a very interesting to see how that came together. So, and along with having 15 people working on, some roles, I'm gonna get more into that reasoning of like why there's 15. Some roles they worked more full time on the project. Like the programmers, UI designer, 3D modelers, they worked more like just hands on, like pretty much day after day. Like a lot of hours were put into this project, day after day. Putting things together, while some other roles like the composers and 2D artists and stuff, they were a little like dip in, dip out, where they weren't as just not as involved day to day on the project. So in that respect, some of the roles were split between a couple people to split up the tasks. And that had a lot to do with managing time as well between so like someone might not be able to commit a full 10 hours or something like that. So like I'll split 10 hours between like 5, between 2 people, make 5 and 5. Let's see here. And to go over some of the outcomes, of course, as you'll see like throughout this presentation, you'll see, one of the greatest outcomes, obviously, we really see taking care of tasks and stuff, and having everybody's heads turned in the same direction. That's one of the things that really that was like a big theme in this project, is keeping that together, so we could get to the end goal. And in terms of tools, we use Unity 2021.30. That version exactly, so we use one of the more recent versions. And also and then real quickly, I'm gonna move on after explaining. We used an agile development process where we had like weekly meetings, and then we'd set goals for a prototype at the end of each week, what we wanted the game to look like. And that's how we assigned our tasks. We based our tasks on what we wanted the game to look like in a week, and then made adjustments along the way. Oh, oops. All right, so I'm going to go through what went right, what went wrong, risks that we took, and mid-project changes, conclusion, and our action plan for the next project. So that's what these next few slides are going to be. So what went right? Very firstly, I want to start with I just loved pulling everybody together, and having and be like you kind of create like a little community, because we set up a Discord, and we chatted in that Discord essentially every day while working on that project. We shared laughs, we shared our lives with each other. We shared, just things that we were interested in, news that we heard about, how our days went, things like that. And I think it was a really great experience for me, a really beautiful thing, and that was definitely something that just came out of it. So another reason why I'll suggest anybody to do this, because you talk about networking in the game industry. It's important. This is one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion. And work on games together, because those bonds that that you bring together after you solve problems together, that those are some of the strongest bonds that you can get. And because you go through the up times, you go through the down times, and it's just like that, because you're working on a similar goal. And like Irene said, the memes, like, yeah, I think I was about to say that. I just forgot to mention, like, memes, sharing memes is very important. If you don't share memes, then what are you doing? Right? You're having a hard time. So yeah, the end result was very, very, very impressive. I love programming some of the features that we put in, like the reflection mechanic and the cube flipping mechanic, and like programming it so like the cube couldn't flip through walls and things like that. Those were all newer things that I had to apply my knowledge in new ways. And those mechanics, they were a little like convoluted to get into and figure out, but they weren't too tough. And with my understanding of programming, it was very easy to see how I could have gotten tripped up in different ways, but I didn't, and I just love that. We had cutscenes in the game, a couple of cutscenes. I love to make. I made those cutscenes. They were great. Let's see here, and we planned a compact game, for that 3-month period. We were able to avoid feature creep, but still come out with something that looked very good and played very well. People like to play. And the debugging and testing process was like way better than I expected. Because people were so interested in actually playing the game. There were a lot of people who were like, "Oh, I would love to test your game," and they were very attentive about wanting to give good feedback, and that, yeah. So that part was great. So like, I think y'all should take that as a lesson, and in terms of like the debugging, like you shouldn't worry about being able to make a game and then test it and debug it, because people are going to want to play your game, is what I feel like. From this experience, that's what I'm feeling. What went wrong? I'm going to dig a little bit more into this in a few minutes when I get to my last slide. Where like one thing that I didn't do was set a standard for time commitment for each of the team members. Which hindsight is hindsight. I didn't think that that would be the best way to approach things in this project. The best way, the way I thought would be the best way to approach it would be to work around everybody's time frame. Yes, do that, but more like it was just like I kind of just went into it without really talking about like what kind of time frame that we could work with. Because if you get that information, you can plan your project around that better. And I wasn't able to do that because I didn't have that laid out. So talking about what went wrong is just like, we have 15 people, and a lot of the time, they might not have been as available as I'd planned, for some of the features and some of the things that we wanted to put in the game. And that's, I'm going to dig into that a little bit. So I actually ended up doing a lot more of the programming than I had originally thought I was going to do. I had to pick up a lot of programming tasks, and I also had to pick up level design tasks. And that goes into, because we had a level designer, but one of the things I didn't do was establish, like, hey, like, would you be, how many hours could you put in per week, and or just have a standard and be like, hey, like, we need a level designer that can put in this much amount of time, because that's what the project so far requires, because like the level design we brought in later into the project, so with the idea that we had, and not being able to have those conversations sometimes, it would result in just tasks not getting done, point blank. And and of course you adjust for that, just like throughout the entire process. But again, just like in hindsight, looking back, I would have did it differently. Like these couple things collectively would have helped Third Power have even more features, which I'm going to talk about. Some of the risks that we took. Let's see here. So, of course, team size. Biggest team I've ever worked on. All right. Biggest team that a lot of us have ever even worked on. So it was hard to really to really know what exactly the process was going to look like. However, I just took that and I was like, listen, let's do it. Let's figure out, let's talk with each other, figure out the best way to do it. Team experience. A lot of us has just worked on like a lot of game jams, shorter games. So working on a bigger game, you got to do it a little differently. As and to get a little bit more in detail, with smaller games, you might plan like, a week out, 2 weeks out, and do everything in like one short burst. So like all of the disciplines, you'll do everything in one short burst. So like, the composer will just come up with something with like, with not tons of reference to anything visual, but like, a composer might want to do, music based on animations, environment art. It helps set the mood. So in a shorter game, you might not get the opportunity to do that because it's a shorter game. Yet, you have less time to make your assets. In a longer game, you'll want to, you have more time to figure that out. So you'll do things in stages. 3D modeling first, animations first. Yeah, and so planning for a stimulus, short time frame, that 3 months, which we actually had originally planned 2 months, but to avoid going over my time, we might have to talk about that a little bit later, but essentially, like it got pushed to 3.5 months, talking about the whole task thing, and not having as much time available as we planned. Putting in new mechanics, and posting to social media, not really knowing what to expect from that, but having, just making up a plan for that, and posting things and getting people knowing about it. So this is going to be the last couple slides. Last 3 slides. So we had planned to put in, like, this was actually our original wolf model. I should have put a picture of our actual wolf model, like our in-game wolf model. But like, this was going to be in the game. we weren't able to get animations for this, as many animations as we needed for this model, though. So we actually ended up not putting this model in the game and used an asset store, Wolf, instead, that had, a full range of animations to use. And this Harpy enemy, go back. This Harpy enemy was in the game, but it's in the game right now. But originally, it was supposed to be an enemy that attacks you, and like it was like a projectile flying enemy. But we chalked the projectile aspect of it. It doesn't shoot at you. It's kind of just there. It's like an ornament that flies around in the dungeons. So like we still put it in the game. We put the assets in there, but it wasn't a feature. It wasn't like an enemy feature. Me taking over level design tasks, that was a huge change. And like some animations didn't make it in because the rigs were having issues, kind of like I can talk more about animation retargeting later on, but animation retargeting was an issue. And we had a cube drop mechanic that didn't make it in just because level designing for the cube drop mechanic, and putting that in the game and having you actually do stuff with it, that became an issue. Let's see here. So for some conclusions, before I hand this over to our next speaker. So I would start vetting for each role, according to the role's needs. So like, for my next, this is go into the next slide. For my next project, like that's what I want to do. I want to vet for those. And be like, hey, like we want to do this. Would you be able to commit this amount of time? I would say maybe like go for everybody being able to put in like 5 to 6 hours a week, because you can do a lot with 5 to 6 hours a week. Working on a 3-month projects like this. So if you go for that goal and be like, hey, can you do like 5-6 hours a week? And have people commit to that, then you like you can do amazing things. You can do crazy things if you really just put it into your mind that that's what you want to do, or maybe a little bit more than 5-6 hours. I might have to get back to everybody on how much time it took to get certain tasks done, because I actually have a task log of when things got done and when they got pushed back. So I'll be able to be like, it took this long to do this because we were only able to commit this amount of time. Yeah. So possibly more than 6 hours, maybe like 10 hours. But things that that we did great. Communication was still pretty good. Like one thing that fell through was some task communication. But other than that, getting goals done, getting assets made, getting them put into the game, getting them work together. That cycle was great. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and so like I use a task list to kind of to kind of be like, I like kind of thought of it as like a bulletin board. We used the GitHub project board to post tasks. And while some people may, regularly go to the project board and be like, okay, what are my tasks this week? But not everybody would do that, and everybody's comfortable with just going to a bulletin board and looking at a task list to see what they do, because they'll want explanations. They'll want kind of like a vision for what they're trying to accomplish that week. So I feel like it's a better idea to communicate what the task is to people. So I'll probably like abandon the whole bulletin board thing, look at the board and like see where your tasks are. I'll probably go for more of like I'll have to I'll probably go for like actually like talking in the meeting, like going through the tasks and going over the bulletin board with each role. And so wrapping up here, before we get into Kelsey. So I would say for my next project, like I've been saying, I'd want to have a time commitment standard. So if you're going to, try to go for making a game like this, think about your scope and plan a microscopic scope. Like plan smaller than what you think you're going in, like for how much time that you have. Plan smaller for how much time that you have. If you're going for a month, make a game that has like 2 mechanics, man. Like 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 obviously think about your skill level and your level of experience and what you will actually be able to do. Plan something microscopic for where you're at, because things will get pushed back, and not just in my case and in my team's case. Like this is something that I see what do you call it, preached in the game development world a lot, and I experienced it firsthand. So playing microscopic, and ensuring that quality work culture, like that's something that I feel that needs a system behind it, and I want to work more on the system behind that, and making sure that that connection that I was talking about earlier, the sharing memes and stuff like that, like those things are facilitated, and because that opens up communication, crazy in a lot of ways. So it's that's really good. You like, so that's on my checklist. And just making sure that I have manageable goals. This is something like a checklist. So like these 4 things would probably be on the top of my checklist for like start like thinking about doing my next project. Making sure goals are manageable. Having meetings and discussing those tasks, and running through things and making sure everybody's on the same page. All right, so I'm going to now let this transition over to Kelsey. That's my perspectives. So we're good here.
Thank you, Khenan. Can everyone see me and hear me?
Yeah, I
take
can
no
hear you.
answer as a yes.
I'll come
Fine.
back in and be like, yes.
Okay. I'm
I
gonna
can
set
hear
a
you.
little timer and try to keep myself short here. Okay, so I'm Kelsey. I did the game writing narrative design on Third Power. So even though I'm about to start talking about what went right, stay on this slide for just a minute if you don't mind, Khenan, because one of the
Sure.
first things I want to say about what I think went right with my role in the project and the things I was focusing on, Khenan's kind of a lot about the bigger picture. I really liked our little hidden narrative beats throughout the levels. It was really fun to get to craft something that gives a slow reveal. We worked together to come up with this idea that gets revealed kind of in reverse throughout gameplay. And I think that worked really well and was really fun, and hopefully gives the game a little bit of mystery and intrigue. And then if you don't mind going to the next slide for me. Thank you. And then I really liked helping. Sorry, I live on a loud street. I don't know if you can hear that. Really helping direct the use of assets for storytelling, which worked so well because of Irene's significant talents. You can see we worked together to communicate some of the game's narrative through some of the in-game assets with these stained glass windows that hint to the story that the player figures out as they move along. And I think we did a good job telling a story in a compact space that accentuates the gameplay. It doesn't get in the way of it. It doesn't impede things in any way. And then on a personal level, I really enjoy working with the teams that Khenan puts together. So we've worked together in a few projects, mostly game jam stuff. And one thing I really like about, I'll second his praise of Discord, is it gives me the opportunity to stick my nose in every department. I like the ability to kind of just get better acquainted with the whole game development pipeline and not just be laser focused on narrative and writing. I think everyone in every position can benefit from understanding how the whole system works together, not just how their department works. But especially narrative designers should understand the broad ins and outs of pretty much every department, because so much of what you want to introduce into the game through writing ends up needing to be coded, needing to be made into art, needing to be time and money, or, depending on the project. So understanding kind of what you're asking through the story you're writing is really helpful to not just write an effective story, but also write something that's effective in gameplay and can be done in the time that you're being asked, and stops you from having to do a lot of revisions after you hear back from other people about, oh, that's not possible, or we don't have time for that, and things like that. So working on these teams really helps me learn more about game development in kind of this safe, friendly space where I feel comfortable asking questions. I feel comfortable sticking my nose in the audio design channel and bothering Mark or something about things. So I think all of that went really well. As for what went wrong, if you don't mind changing the slide, I meant to make my slides prettier, and then I had quite a day with a sick dog. So Irene helped me with some of them, and then some of them are a little plain, but I'm a writer, not a visual artist. So, but one of the things is, so first of all, right around the time this project started, I got a job. And, I've said it before, but PGM really helped me get this job, encouraging me to do game jams, getting in your narrative design, and you make all the decisions, from the start. And sometimes you come in and people are like, here's this and here's this, make a story with it, right? It depends on, what studio you're at, depending on if they're, gameplay first or writing first. I've been able to give, more time commitment, more focus to the project. And personally, I would have liked to have been able to do. And, I feel like I missed opportunities to help shape the game, but also just to learn and interact with my team. One issue I have with projects like this, meaning volunteer projects, we're not getting paid, right? Is that since we're all volunteers, it's really hard to take leadership in collaborative work. One of the reasons I pay attention to what's going on all over the place is because, in theory, narrative designers often need to direct artists to here's what the character's, vibe is supposed to be. Here's what they're supposed to, look like broadly. Might tell sound designers like, oh, we need spookier sounds, or whatever's going on. And depending on the project, narrative designers can get their hands into how the gait of the main character, or what the UI should look like. Famously in Fallout, the Pip-Boy screen, that was the narrative designer who decided that that's the way they wanted to immerse the player into the menu and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't feel comfortable kind of, I guess, taking lead about as just another volunteer. Who am I, right? We don't have time. We don't have, I just don't feel like I have any position to tell someone who's also volunteering their time, actually, I was feeling that this character needed to be a little more this or that, right? And that's fine. And I think that makes sense. We're all volunteers. Who the heck am I, right? But sometimes I feel like this leads to things not having as much cohesion, because there does kind of need to be someone who has a vision and is making sure everyone's kind of following along. And we did generally have that, but that would usually be something my position could really help make sure of. And I just didn't feel, and often in volunteer positions, even in game jams and stuff, often don't feel empowered to do that. And that's no one's fault. That's possibly even my fault, because maybe I should just, go in there and take ownership. But I don't feel comfortable kind of forcing things, for lack of a better word, when everybody's doing their best outside of their real jobs or whatever, you know what I mean? I've also learned that even with a game design document or narrative plan available, not everyone involved in the project is going to look at it ever at any point. And so when they're making their assets and things like that, things might just be totally completely different from the vision that we agreed on and built and wrote down for everyone to see. And so sometimes that's frustrating, and again, it's difficult when you don't feel good about going in and being like, actually, can you change this? And you spend a bunch of free time already making this thing, can you spend some more of your free time changing it? So and then the last thing is that we did have some trouble securing real-time communication with like the whole team, myself included. I wasn't able to be at a lot of the meetings. My work schedule is kind of crazy. So it just meant that sometimes I didn't get to be clear on the vision. Sometimes things were discussed and then were written down, but not in a way that was necessarily clear to me. And that's a me thing. I wasn't able to be there. But once in a while, there would be things that I thought I understood and tried to help out with, and then realized like, oh, that's not what we wanted. Like that was a bunch of wasted time and like discussion and stuff, and had to switch gears. So those are some of the things that I guess I would say went wrong. Every single one of them was a learning experience and has led me to kind of examining myself and my role and how I want to, move forward with that role and, empower myself and work together with other people and communicate better and things like that. So I, don't begrudge anyone that any of these things were going on during our project. If you don't mind one more time changing the slide. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So first of all, before we go into the action plan, my conclusion about the project is, dadgummit, we did it. I'm proud of us. We made a game and we put it on Steam and people downloaded it and played, and a lot of people enjoyed it, and some people streamed it, and it feels really good to have seen something through from the beginning to the conclusion, and just having a successful launch. It's not the biggest game, it's not the most perfect bug-free game in the world, but it's a game that we made together, and I'm just really proud of every single person on the team. Moving forward, some things in my future action plan is to try my best when I take on projects like this to be more present. I'm not someone who has the luxury of putting a full-time job's amount of work into an unpaid side project most of the time, but I still am going to try really hard to carve out time to be in meetings when, just even if I have work to do, see if I can rearrange my day so that work can happen, not during meeting time and things like that. Because I think that's really important, and it's not enough just to read on Discord or just to look at some vague notes later. And another thing is that I need to remind myself, I'm really interested in the narrative and the overall vision of the story of the game. Not everybody's interested in that, or a lot of people are really busy like me. So it's probably not fair or realistic to expect people to go read, the game design document or the narrative plan that's been drafted that's supposed to be informing the different departments on how to make a cohesive piece of work. So in a team where we can't always be talking at the same time, we had people on different continents, so we had time zone things going on. I might try to break down that kind of stuff into departments or something and make things just quick and easy to access. Maybe see if that helps. Feels less like having to sit down and study, right? Just glance over. Okay, I see what I'm supposed to be doing, kind of provide things like that for people. If it feels appropriate, I would like to take more charge of the narrative direction. I think I could help people not waste time if I maybe step in and say, this is what the main character generally should look like, or this is what, the enemies are supposed to be doing. This is the vibe of this room or whatever before the work gets done. And I don't know. I guess that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm just really proud of our team. I loved working with Khenan and everyone. Again, I just really am so thankful for PGM, because without this group, I never would have met these people, and I never would have been able to do projects like this, which have been just a lot of fun and a lot of growth and professional development I'm really thankful for. And with that, I will pass it to Irene.
All right.
I just realized too, have we been doing any proper introduction of ourselves?
I know who I was vaguely.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
I'll say who I am vaguely then too. So hello everybody, out here in the chat and out on stream. I I was very lucky to meet Khenan through a game jam, and then I met everyone else, and I've been a little bit part of this group. I'd like to be a little bit more involved, but since I'm in New Jersey and we're sad and neglected over there, we don't have access to certain things. But no, I'm just kidding. This is like a random ramble. Let's go back to this. So I did do a lot of the UI design. No, I did all of the UI design really for this project. And Khenan was saying I was the UI designer, and I was like, I should correct him and say UX UI designer. But actually, I think in this project that we did, there wasn't. This is sort of jumping ahead to a conclusions part, but we didn't do as much UX as possible. But at the same time, it provided like a really great learning opportunity in terms of learning where that could be like better brought into the game development like process. That's also assuming that people who are listening in kind of are familiar with what the idea is behind UX and UX in games and how that's different from, testing like QA, right? Versus just UI design. But we can kind of get into that later. What you can see on the screen, though, I did keep this GIF from earlier in the slide where you can actually see some of the UI that I designed in action there. And then on the right-hand side, you can see some of the elements separately, right, that I designed. So if we actually go into the next slide, Khenan. There's a lot going on here on this slide. I'll try not to take too much time, but I would like to explain what it is that UX is, because that ultimately ties into what I think I learned from this project and what we would want to take into our future projects and what I would advise for other people to take as well, right? So before I even go down those bullet points that I have, if you look in the kind of bottom leftish area, UX is about fostering great communication. And it's game devs who communicate to players and players who communicate back to game devs, right? It's kind of this cycle, right? When we're making a game, we have a vision, right? In this particular case, you're this character who turns into a cube. The cube has certain abilities. The person has certain abilities, So you have Khenan and the other programmers like programming abilities going into that. You have Kelsey's narrative going into that.
Oh, what do we have here? Hello.
I got kicked out.
Hey, what's going on here?
Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry about that. Where was
Yeah.
the point that you heard me?
You
Said
were
something
talking
about my narrative.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Where everything working together.
Okay, yes. So yeah, when you have like everything that you're putting together on your end as a team and you're putting that towards a player, that's your communication to the player, right? But then the player is having their own experience that's completely different from what you've made, right? And they communicate it back to you. Sometimes not directly, but they are trying to input it into the game, right? Their understanding like of what they think the story is, what they think they're able to do in the game or not able to do, right? So games UX is really this method of trying to understand that communication and trying to bridge the gap between, what you're trying to make and what players are getting out of it and trying to line that up into this one thing, right? So what did we do right in order to kind of try to foster that? We ran a great Discord channel just for play testing, and like Khenan kind of mentioned before, we didn't really expect to get as much engagement as we did. There were people who were, really happy to help us test, especially people from PGM. Thank you so much. And we're very involved in giving us feedback just through that Discord alone. But then we also wrote a survey, which I kind of, pushed for. Let's make sure we do this, right? And have certain questions on there, certain rankings in there, which then we were able to turn into intelligence. We take the feedback in, look through that data, and then figure out what do we do from that and put that in, which is your kind of typical QA testing thing. But it's an obviously very important process because if you're not understanding like where players are at versus, what's the difference between you tried to make versus what players are getting out of it, you're not going to be able to communicate effectively, or you're not going to be able to make a fun and interesting game, right? I mean, maybe by accident you could, right? But it's very important to try to bridge that gap. And we did throughout this process, besides just getting that feedback sort of later on in the game development process, throughout it, all team members were trying to communicate like how we could improve the player experience in terms of like how do we teach them, that you can climb this, or how do we teach them that you can turn into the cube this way and that way. So I think a combination of, talking with the team members, but also doing a little bit of this like research throughout the process helped us figure out, how to make the player experience a little bit better, right? A little bit more fun. And you can kind of see on the right-hand side a couple of screenshots from within the Discord. I thought I had it somewhere in our survey too, where people mentioned the HUD, but I couldn't find it today for some reason. But initially when you boot up the game, there isn't very much like on the screen itself for the actual heads-up display. That would be more common in other games. And that's because this was kind of an unusual puzzle where you're not really carrying items with you. You're not really given a map. You sort of don't need one. There's a lot of things that we initially didn't know, like what would we even do for a HUD for this? And getting that kind of feedback from people saying, hey, I wish I could know what abilities I have, what options do I have for what I can do, show it on the screen. That helped me figure out, okay, so we need to show this or this, which ended up being the UI solution that you see down here, showing the controls both for like controller and for keyboard, for how to control this keyboard, allocate that to players, and then our test players telling us back, oh hey, I don't understand how to make this work. I wish I knew this, and then us taking that in and saying, okay, here's a solution that could work for you, and then seeing does it work, and it did work. When we got feedback once again on this like new implemented solution. So next slide, please.
Oh, click.
So what went wrong? It wasn't, I would say, what went wrong per se, more of a better understanding of how you can use this idea of like testing these concepts, right? And bridging the gap between your vision as a dev team, right? And what players are perceiving from your game. I feel that could be introduced much, much earlier and planned for much earlier in the process. And you can kind of see my shrugging guy. It's like, do players understand our ideas even? Is this game even fun? Is the UI actually useful? I don't know. There's ways of making sure that that's done a little bit earlier in the process, right? And also to really help figure out like what you're even making too. If everyone on the team understands the game very deeply, you're able to make a more interesting game, right? And like we've kind of talked about, we had 15 people, and all over the world. Kelsey, you mentioned that briefly, but we really should mention that. Like we had a couple of us here on the East Coast of the United States, and then like 2 or 3 other countries with all different time zones, and different availability. So some people were able to dedicate a lot more time to this, some really could not. And not being able to have that like constant synchronization did make it a bit harder. But I actually think there's, from doing this project for Third Power, I realized that there's a way we could get everybody on board like much earlier.
New Zealand.
There we go. That's one of them, right? So
yeah.
I could get more into this UX thing, but I don't want to take too much time. So we can just move on to the next slide where I'll just talk about what I would do next time. And also just really emphasizing the process. And people might be wondering, like, I'm really not talking about the UI all that much, because I actually think in the grand scheme of things, UI is the last thing. You'll see people talking about like UI UX designer, but I say put that the other way around, UX UI, because if you don't know your solutions that you're trying to make for the player, if you don't understand first what the game dev's intentions were and what the players kind of expect from the game and what they want, you're not going to be able to make, like, you can make very pretty user interfaces that don't really help anybody, right? So you can feel free to ask me any questions that you want about the UI too. I'm totally open to talking about like what was my, methods there, like how did I create it, what programs did I use, how did we kind of create a style. Later on, I'm very happy to answer those questions too. But I find it more interesting to kind of talk about what our plan is for the future in terms of UX. Because I think something that happened with Third Power is that we all knew going into it that this is going to be a short project. Like Khenan said, it's a very small scope intentionally. And again, it was only meant to be 2 months in the beginning, and for our various reasons, right? Either through things not being done at a certain time or wanting to put a little bit more effort into something, and then it ended up being 3 months. And I lost my train of thought. Sorry. What was I thinking about?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, you were going into
Oh yeah,
not
the time.
not planning in the beginning.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We knew that it would be a short project, and so I didn't really push for certain like processes to be done. But I think even if you're doing something that's very small, any like project, like a week-long game project, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like or around the same length we did, um, taking the time before you start to really make sure that you understand your game, that everyone on the team understands the game very well, right? And that you also understand what your target audience would be looking for, right? What do they find fun? What's kind of like typical for them in a game? Is going to help you plan out the game a little bit better before you just get started. Because a lot of the times we would just kind of go, try to make things quickly, and then we would have to revise something a little bit, right? Or someone wasn't quite caught up with like the vision. Um, and that ended up being a little bit tricky. And that kind of came into like some of the game mechanics, like how the cube moved, right? We were just like, all right, let's just put it in this way, let's implement it this way. And then it wasn't quite functioning that way, and we had to take certain things out. Whereas if we took a little bit more time in the beginning and like prototyped it and tested it and just tested like, kind of sandboxing. I'm sure people are familiar with that term where everything's just like gray boxed out, very minimal, no details at all, right? And you just have people play it, even internally within your team. You can find out a lot of issues like pretty quickly. And that's kind of like what this diagram down here at the bottom is. Like you prototype, you test, find out what's wrong, fix it, right? Iterate on it, test it again, fix it, and do this kind of cycle. And then you're able to see, are things working the way we want them to be, the way we're trying to convey it, or are they not? And if they're not, why? And go back to the well, not quite the drawing board, but go back like a process and like a step and like process it out a little bit more, work on it a little bit more, and then move on. So that's what we're already talking about for our next project, how to kind of include that in this whole thing.
facts.
And huh?
I just said facts.
Oh yeah, no big facts. And yeah, to avoid rambling any further, I'll just leave it there. And if anybody has questions for me, please feel free to
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah, for sure. So so that's going to go ahead and wrap us up. We're going to go right into a Q&A session now. Spend 10-15 minutes talking about anything that anybody has been wondering this whole time and really wanting to ask or have us go more detail about. There's a lot that we learned here. There's a lot that we can take into another project. I really hope that thank you very much, y'all. Yeah, I really hope that the information that we delivered here inspires some of y'all, and because even with the things the limitations with this project, something great came out of it. It was something that was enjoyable for people to play. It was something that left that left an impact on our social media and on other people that played the game. You should see it. Like there's like a whole bunch of YouTube videos of people actually playing the game from Steam, and I just think stuff like that is just really cool. And y'all have the power to do that too. So take what we're talking about here. Go through the stream again, the go through the presentation again, the PowerPoint, and and see if you'd like to apply some of these things and start a project.
Khenan, someone asked if we know how many impressions and downloads we've gotten. Do you have that information?
I could take a few moments to pull it up. If while
another question while you do that, like what kind of
Yeah.
games do you want to work on next or in the future? Irene, do you have any thoughts?
I actually would like to answer a different question if I can.
Yeah.
I'm preparing to look it up because I see Tommy just asked if we could expand upon the initial ideation process. The reason I want to ask that is because we actually have something for that. So it was tricky too, and that this is like another aspect of the game dev process that I think we could fine tune a little bit. Because when you do have 15 people and all 15 of them have different likes and opinions and whatnot, it's hard to like reach consensus on something, right? But we had several like brainstorming sessions before we began, which I think was at least like very good.
I
And
do
I'd
want
love
to really quickly, if it's okay, I want to sing Khenan's praises because I've seen him from like the first project we worked on together to we've worked on a few now. And in the beginning at these brainstorming processes, like everybody has an idea, right? And I've seen him get I guess more empowered, more confident in narrowing the scope and politely, acknowledging people and saying like, that's a great idea, not going to work for this project, and helping streamline that a little bit, which has been really cool to watch that happen. But it is
Yes,
things
thank you.
start big. And then Irene's been really good about also helping kind of organize and make things get narrowed down, which I interrupted her talking about just now.
No, yeah. Well, that is one thing to sing Kanan's praises as well. Like that's the one thing that really drew me like to
Thank you.
working with him initially and this team is how well he was able to organize us through all the steps. Like obviously things happen, right? Someone's not available, we have to fill things in, or like something got miscommunicated, it has to be like
It's
fixed.
a learning process. So.
Yeah, but overall, like I've always been really impressed with just like how clearly he can tell us like here's what we've got to do. Here's the steps to get there. Which sounds, when you say it out loud, that sounds like, well, duh. But, I'm sure we've all had experiences with people who were not quite so organized, maybe,
You're right.
And it is a skill set. It is a talent. Like, this is a very important skill set to master if you want to be able to make something like this, because there's so many moving parts, and when you're dealing with so many different people and all these moving parts, right, it's very easy to get lost.
Yeah.
But clear communication, like the kind that Khenan was providing to us like throughout this whole entire process, and the pep talks as well. He makes very nice pep talks.
I'm about to.
It was very, very like helpful to all of us. I can feel comfortable saying for the team. But
Awesome.
what I'd like to show you, if I can share my screen, is that possible?
Sure. Yeah. Wait. Do you want me to get into the? I got the statistics up now. I can answer that question real quick.
Oh yeah, you want to do that, and then actually you could, do that, and then I can share screen for something.
Sure. So let's see here. So for Q&A, right? How many impressions and downloads have you gotten, and in how much time? That was Woody's question. That's the first question. So let's see here. So total right now downloads that we're at 1,381. Let's see. In terms of let's see here. In how much time? Really not sure, to be honest. Like I would have to dig around more for that, because that I'm not too familiar with Steam's interface. With picking that up, I could probably try to answer that some more, like more in detail later. But so what I will say is, in the last 3 months, well, now I'm looking at 1526 total first time downloads. 1526. That's what I'm looking at. So yeah, and that's in the last 3 months. So that's what we're looking at right here. Yeah. All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I think it actually like we got impressions pretty quickly, which I don't think any of us were really expecting. Like they've
Bro.
mentioned before, like we had people. Well, okay, you listen. We expected to have some success, right? But seeing people like streaming our game like on YouTube, right, and playing it, and just like talking about it. I don't know. It was very interesting and surprising. And I think we should emphasize that we did social media posts. So Kane and I worked on that together, the strategy. I designed like the posts, I do the video editing, right? We made them. But there was no paid advertising whatsoever involved. It was really like a once a week posting thing that started maybe a month or so before we actually published the game on Steam. So it really wasn't a ton of effort relatively, and yet the return, I think that really helped like boost up our initial kind of engagement on Steam quite a bit, you know. So even if you like even put just a little bit of effort into something like that, right? Making sure also that like you establish your brand. If this is something that you want to be like kind of an established company like we are doing with Plot Armor, right? We first really cleaned up the brand. You know, I helped design a new logo. Khenan kind of worked out things with some of the social media and the copy, right? Kelsey reviewed some things. You know, and then we began making a couple of posts. I think that made like a big difference too. That again, we didn't really expect, but it clearly worked.
Oh, oh, oh yeah, yeah. I just stopped sharing my screen. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like you know, the end result at the end of it, it just like it culminated between like all of the things that we did. Um, yeah,
Did Irene
let's
have
see it.
a screen share?
Yeah, let me go
Yeah,
ahead. Because
I know you wanted to show us something.
yeah, let me reread Tom's question. Could you expand a little more on the initial ideation process? How did you all land on the final concept for the game? You will
Oh
see
yeah.
visually what that was. So I'm gonna just share my whole screen.
Wait, did we skip over Kotaro's question?
We haven't addressed it yet.
Yeah, I feel like that's something you should answer, Khenan, because Kelsey tried to point it to me, but I'm like, I think it's a little bit more of a Kanan's dream and vision there.
All right, all right. I'll let Irene go, and then I'll answer your question, Kotaro.
Okay. So, can everyone see this Miro board that I'm
Yes.
sharing now? All right.
Yes.
Well, you are looking at a lot of our brainstorming from the beginning right here. So, this little initial brainstorm area here, you can kind of tell where we started narrowing down our ideas in this like beautifully drawn collaborative circle sun thing. But yeah, we really started off with this like big brainstorming session where everybody wrote out these ideas that they had on these post-it notes. I think we had like a certain set amount of time for everyone to just quickly like jot down your notes, try to organize it. And it might have been more disorganized in the beginning and slowly became more organized. I think there was like a period of time, like first step was giving everyone some time to just write their ideas out, and then second step was everyone just looking over their ideas and like possibly presenting them, talking about what they had in mind, and then us reacting to it. And we started gathering things together, you know, in kind of clusters of ideas. Like it's like, oh, we want to do a dungeon. Here's some like dungeon environments that could inspire us, right? You can see, you can tell UI design. This is my.
Oh no!
Okay.
Explosion.
Are we gonna go darker? Oh, hello.
Yes, you returned.
Oh, uh-oh. Where did you lose me last?
You were talking about the dungeon and like the UI design stuff. Like you were,
Oh, okay.
you know how?
And your screen's not shared anymore.
Yeah, you gotta
Gotcha.
share it.
I wonder why it's doing that. Right here.
It's that Jersey internet.
That Jersey big bet. All right,
Miro,
can you guys
Mhm.
see this again?
Totoro said that Miro scares him, but I first used it with Tom for like the very first game jam of this year, and we've used it I think in every project since. I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I'm not scared by it.
Yeah, because you see, you guys get the idea just looking at this. Like, you can very quickly, and in a literal, like, collaborative live session, you know, discuss ideas and visualize them and kind of narrow things down. So that's really ultimately how we did it. Kind of like by
Ye-
voting, just talking about it, you know, dropping thumbs ups on things. So if you have never used Miro before for a collaborative project like this, highly recommended. Because anyone can jump into this at any time and just see what sort of notes were made, right? This is kind of about the mechanics here. This is figuring out our art direction, right? So yeah, it's like a pretty powerful tool. And it helped us get on the same page, or very like close pages at least, a good amount of the time, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
Jones
hopefully
fire.
that
Yeah,
answered your question, Tom.
yeah. Like very, very broad ideas like being thrown out there, and then the ideas were very different to start, and then we narrowed down things that were like similar. That kind of like cross pages. and then we kind of like brought them together, and yeah, and like and that kind of like just was a springboard for building up like the actual final idea. Let's see here. All right. So now I'm going to address the question that Kotaro had, which was, what kind of games do you want to work on next, or in the future in general? So funny you asked that, because I already knew what I wanted to work on way before even starting Third Power. I just did Third Power because I wanted to release a game on Steam. I wanted to have that under my belt, so I did it. And so like beforehand, I had actually been working on this fighting game, where essentially like like Genshin Impact, but like with like the hack and slash elements were kind of like an inventory, so like you'd be able to like switch out your attacks, using a stance system. So like you'd have attacks in inventory, and then you could click and drag and put an attack in like your stance, and then you'd be able to switch between the attacks. So the game is called FLO. And I guess maybe since I have it up, like I'll just pull this up real quick. I'm not going to show the whole thing.
Ooh, sneak
But
previews.
sneak preview, yeah. So yeah, this would have been a good thing for me to do show and tell with. So maybe I can do a show and tell, like a full show and tell. But I will share this. So like I actually made a pitch deck, for FLO. This is just like a draft pitch deck, just what I use to like get ideas down for how to actually put the pitch deck together for this game. And so it's going to be a combat game. It's kind of like imagine Genshin Impact and Dark Souls with like more combos and stuff, essentially. And like like here's like a little clippy clip. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have actually already seen this, because like it's all over any link that's connected to me is going to take you to this probably. So yeah, and so the idea with this game is I'm actually already like talking with Irene and Kelsey about this project, getting this project published, and like again doing the whole microscopic scope thing where it's planned on having a longer timeline, so having more features but still trying to go for that microscopic scope, and do more of that research and UX research, and like that's one of the things that I plan on doing soon, where it's like I want to get input on what people would expect from a game like this, and what they would want from a game like this, like what they want from their combat games and such. So and yeah, and FLO's goal is going to be to just whet that appetite, that combat system, that combat game appetite, in a way that's researched, that's got substance, and will be kind of like a franchise, that would like set the baseline for a franchise for other combat games to come out of Plot Armor Studios in the future. Yeah, so that is the answer to that question. It does need a story, Kotaro. It has a story. It does. I can talk more about the story if we don't want to cut it off right there.
We should save it for a show and tell. See if there's any other questions. Probably.
Yeah.
About Third Power and the team.
Yeah. Agreed.
Space to really dive in another time,
Yeah. Yeah. So that, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I feel like we can wrap it up.
People typing, so maybe we can give them just a second. Oh, thanks, appreciate it.
You're welcome. As a prelude is a one-page fact sheet. Oh, you're talking about pitch deck.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Like
had publishers
pre-pitch deck pitch.
right. Ask for that plus prototype footage before wanting to see a more detailed pitch deck. And that makes sense too, because I actually sent this out to a producer that said, that I got in contact with, and they said they would help, give feedback. And they kind of gave the same thing back, where they were like, yeah, just put together like one slide where it just has statistics of the game, just in general, all right there in front of you.
But that's also, just to add to that, something that like I have also been talking to Khenan. So this, in the last since we finished Third Power, I actually started a class myself. I don't know if anyone's interested in learning about games UX UI, but run by Elevator, which you can feel free to ask me questions about that. And it goes into some things like this, because again, we usually just think, oh, UI, like that's it, right? That's like we have these visual designs and that's it. But UX, like I kind of talked about in my section, it's this way of approaching your whole game making and doing what Khenan was talking about earlier, really understanding what your game is, really understanding what your audience wants and expects, and trying to find like that bridge between those two things, your vision and what players want. And that's something I'm learning from the class that I'm taking. And this is like, from me as a UX designer, this is like my first step into asking him. It's like, hey, if you played 5 minutes of this game, this future game that we're working on, FLO, right? In the first 5 minutes, would a player be able to tell you who they are, right? What that character is doing, right? And why should you care? And I think there's a fourth question I'm not remembering, but that's like kind of the main things, right? Like, what are you actually doing?
What their
Can you
goals
answer
are.
that? Huh?
Their goals are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If you're
like, oh, why am I playing or whatever.
And it's like, if you're able to have that happen in the first 5 minutes, your player is much more likely to be hooked and to just kind of like stay in the game, right? But then it also goes into something like, what Tom, you just said, like having this like fact sheet that you're putting together. If you're very clear on that information, you can also more easily, put together a fact sheet like that. So
Facts. Sheet.
facts. The sheet that came out of the fax machine.
Facts. All right. Next question. We have a question from Ted. What platforms would you like to launch FLO on? Oh, yeah. Oh, listen. Definitely. Xbox, PS4, Nintendo Switch, PC. The standard ones. Obviously, that's why I would like to talk about porting, and like maybe like have like a PGM meeting that just talks about what porting is and what goes into porting. Like, is there any like code changes or like systems you got to connect with? Because if I know that in advance, I'll be able to tell more vividly, more detail about what platforms to go for. Because porting to different platforms obviously comes with pretty sure different technical requirements and different audience research and stuff like that, different ways to market. So depending on those things, I'm going to have to come up with a plan to be able to achieve those things. Yeah, so obviously I want to go for all of them, but if I can't, then possibly just go for PC and like PS4, go for the easiest ones to publish on. I'll say that.
It's always okay to release on PC and then work on porting and moving on other stuff too. Sometimes it can be better to develop the project with that in mind, but a lot of times people just do PC and then deal with porting after. I know a lot of the games you're publishing are doing that right now.
Cool. Yeah, so definitely want to publish on all of them. Out on all platforms. Pain goes into porting. Let me tell you.
Cool.
Oh, the last couple. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I think we're all out of questions, right, guys? We answered everything? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. I know I want to say thank you guys so much for letting us come talk about the game.
Yes. Yeah, I love talking about it. I really do. I love sharing that with y'all. I hope it did a lot.
Yeah, that was awesome, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, we're around. If anyone ever has any questions, you can just feel free to reach out to us. I think you can tell we're a friendly bunch, and we're very happy to answer questions and network with anybody. And thank you for your time. Yeah.
And I have a
For
very
sure.
righty puppy.
No.
I shall.
So we
I
can
want
have
to.
her back to Tom now.
Final question. What's the puppy's name?
So she's a foster, and the name she came with from the foster place is Cornpop.
Ah,
They
cool.
call her Poppy.
Perfect name.
Her.
Oh, Poppy's really cute.
Yeah,
Hi,
it's
Poppy.
an ode to Cornpop without me having to shout corn into the yard when I want her to come inside, you know?
Genius.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing all your experience and your knowledge. That was an awesome talk. And I'd love to do more of these from anyone in the community who's working on cool stuff in the future. I think this is so valuable. I think everyone here, a huge part of game development that I love so much is that so many developers are very open about their experiences and their knowledge, because what we're doing is very hard. And I think everyone is so open in the community, and especially in field gaming community. So thank you so much, everyone, for presenting today. This was amazing stuff. So round of applause one more time for everyone. Great stuff, and congratulations on the game and all the
Thank you.
impressions. I was looking and seeing it's gotten multiple times the amount of downloads that all of our games have combined. All of my studio's games. So
well,
congratulations.
Ours was free. Ours was free. So like,
Yeah,
let's
the price
talk
helps,
about
I
that.
bet you anything.
Yeah.
But listen, if you're trying to get feedback and impressive things, that is an awesome thing to have. So really great job. Doing the marketing and posting online and stuff, having that presence to get people. I always talk that just getting people to invest their time is sometimes even harder than getting them to invest their money. So y'all definitely did something right there, and you should be very proud of that. So congratulations, good job. All right, well, that kind of wraps up the main event for tonight. We are going to have this is the first meeting of October for Philly Game Mechanics. The next meeting, I guess, is going to be on the 20th. Oh my God! Wait, that's a Thursday. That might be the day that my game launches. Ooh, that'd be really cool. I could do a show and tell for that. Maybe. I will think about that. Maybe we'll do like a kind of spooky themed thing. I don't quite know yet what content we'll have there. If anyone has any ideas for content, I won't be really ready to do like a full presentation on the porting process, or kind of my studio's experience of porting to Xbox and Switch and phone and all these things. But we can maybe set that up sometime before the end of the year. But if anyone has any ideas for any specific content they want to see, go ahead and head over to the PGM planning channel and voice your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, we'll probably either have like a work and play night or a game night. Maybe we can do like a spooky Halloween themed game night. That might be kind of cool. But yeah, go ahead and jump in the channel there and share all your thoughts and ideas. But until then, if anyone's working on really awesome stuff like Third Power or future projects, stay active here in the community. Make sure and post in any of the show-off channels or any of the developer channels. And certainly show us what you got next meeting during the show and tell. But otherwise, thank you again so much for joining us tonight. And we will see you in 2 weeks for our next meeting. See you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Tom. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
All right. That was awesome. It was really great of those folks to come through and do that. Really happy to have them, and very grateful to have such awesome people in our community to do stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely if you're in chat right now, give them a round of applause because I think they would appreciate it. Sorry, the mic is banging into that. I apologize. All right, let's get some music going here for a sec. All right, so I'm going to hang out and play some retro games for a little bit. So if folks are interested in sticking around for that, play for a few minutes before we end the stream for tonight. But yeah, just another quick recap. I think it went really, really well to have these folks talking about their game from the inception of the idea and putting the team together, being able to communicate and collaborate across, all the way across the world. As they mentioned, they had people in the UK, across Europe, in New Zealand, and that's just really, really cool. And obviously across North America. So yeah, them being able to put together this presentation and talk about their experience with that was really awesome. And also thank you to Leafbuckets for showing off their prototype of their Deadspace for kids that they're making for their kid. So yeah, that was all really cool. So I'll do my quick reminder to anybody that's watching this. If you liked even just a second of the stream, we'd appreciate you going and clicking the thumbs up like button on the video. It really helps us out to know that you are enjoying what we're doing. Click the big red subscribe button, and then when the bell pops up, click the bell and say I want to receive all notifications, and that will alert you anytime we are about to go live or are planning a live stream to do more of this kind of stuff in the future. So we really appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And then go down below and if you have more questions about this stuff, continue to ask them in the comment section on this video, because the developers hopefully can see it and answer those questions well into the future. And you can follow all of them. You can follow the game. There is a link in the description of this live stream and this video to the game if you want to go and download it yourself. As they said, the game is free, so please go play it. Stream yourself playing it and tweet at them or post that you are doing that. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. And yeah, last but not least, please follow us on all the other social media platforms. Those are also in the description of this video. It allows us to have this amazing game developer. So very, very fortunate. Again, if you enjoy what it is that we do, in any capacity, we would love and be very grateful to have you as a supporter in our community financially. We would just be so incredibly grateful of that. So yeah, please do so if you can, and yeah, that would be awesome. So all right, so first things first, we'll turn down our music here. And we're going to come on over to our this thing doesn't want to behave. Give me one moment and I'll be right back. All right. I'm back. I apologize. So what we're going to do is we'll pop open our old friend here, CoinOps, and yeah, let's play some retro games. I don't know really what I'm in the mood for. I feel like maybe something in the way of Sega Genesis. Megadrive might be kind of fun. I've been trying to get into Beyond Oasis. I think that's the original. Yeah, Beyond Oasis. Oh, I gotta turn on, make sure the, yeah, that should be good. Should be hopefully a good volume for the game. So yeah, alright, so bump us over, make sure that's capturing, yep, cool. So pop open our CoinOps and take a look and see what we got in the way of Megadrive, Sega Genesis games that might be fun to play for a few minutes. But yeah, what I was saying before is I've been trying to get into Beyond Oasis, but it is kind of like a bigger commitment kind of game, and just to be like sitting at my computer and playing it hasn't been something I've been really crazy about doing. So I haven't really gotten into it, but let me see here. Let's go to consoles, and then we'll go over. Oh yeah, I remember this is the wall theme. So we gotta scroll down here to. We have to scroll down until we get all the way to Sega Genesis. Yeah, let's take a look here. Well, this is perfect. So somebody brought up the Real Monsters earlier in the meeting, so that's a perfect. I feel like we gotta go with Real Monsters for this one. It's just too perfect. Who was that? Leafbuckets brought up this when talking about their prototype game that they're working on, so I feel like this is just perfect to play Real Monsters. I used to love this show when I was a kid and it first came on TV. I'm showing my age a little bit that I was old enough to see this when it was actually first aired on TV, but yeah, I used to love this game, or used to love this show. I don't think I've ever played the game. Difficulty, scary, nightmare. Okay, there's only 2 difficulties. There's the professor tapping their shoe. Music on, sound on, controls. Jump, throw, scare. Wait, no, I don't like that. I want this to be jump, throw, scare. Yeah, that's good. And start. It gets. Wake up, it gets. Find a shoe, okay. Oh! Oh wow, we got like a little team here. Oh, that's cool. Oh! Watch out for that, whatever it was. Oh gosh! I like the art style of this. It's fairly well done. I feel like it captures the essence of captures the essence of the show pretty well. Bright colors and strong thick kind of, almost cartoon shading on the black outlines of the characters. I feel like it looks pretty well. Do I have a limited number? Yeah, okay, I have a limited number of those. Whoa! Oh, okay, maybe that's how I pick up more stuff. Ah! I knew that was gonna happen and I still walked right into it. Sewage everywhere. Some more trash here. Oh! Oblina got squished. Nice. How do we get up here? I don't think there's like a team move. I mean, maybe there is, but I just don't know how to do it. Can go this way though. Ah, secret area. Don't know how to get up there though. Oh, feel like I should be able to get up there somehow. Oh. Oh. Keep jumping into this fight. Ah. How do I get up there? Oh, okay. Wait, how did I do that? Oh wait, now I'm... Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, so down and C is one kind of special move, and then... Okay, that's awesome. But I don't have any scaring left, I guess. Because I accidentally pressed it a million times. Got that. So yeah. Okay, so up in C is a special move. This is a very surprisingly well-designed game. I mean, not that there weren't really well-designed games back in 1995, but yeah, it is quite impressive. I feel like this is a... Oh, no! It's a game that should have gotten like a Sega Saturn port. Would have done well to take advantage of the 6 space buttons instead of the 3 on the Genesis. What? Come on! There we go. Yeah, there's the shoe. Alright, come on, there we go. Yeah, let's go. Oh god, there's the boss. A junkyard dog. I feel like that was a very classic sort of 90s trope. It's like a junkyard dog. Like, everybody was so desperate to steal things from junkyards that every junkyard had a dog that just lived there. And, and for some reason everybody in the 90s was obsessed with putting it in some sort of piece of media. I feel like it was a very like common like thing as a kid to be scared of, with like a big scary like neighbor's dog or a junkyard dog or a dog that protected a what would you call it, like a scrapyard or a, you know, like an auto body. I feel like I see those in Philly from time to time. Ooh, I like this music. I got no scaring left at all. Yeah, there are definitely some of those in Philly that are like, oh my gosh, there's so many enemies. What do we do? Yeah, there we go. I like how Blina just runs in place while she waits. I knew there was going to be a secret over there. I like this game a lot. This is really cool. Alright, let's try to beat one more level and then we'll call it a night. I love how the enemies are just these like tiny, what almost seems like insignificant, or what should be like insignificant threats. But they're still, in fact, a threat. Okay, what? Did nothing? Alright, there we go. And then they climb up. And then... Huh. I did it before. There we go. Yeah, what's cool about this game is I feel like it has fairly fluid animations for, you know, this type of game, but it doesn't feel, you know, like super animation driven, like, you know, Prince of Persia or something like that. Or, you know, also on the Sega Genesis, the like Mickey Mouse games, which I think are sort of famous for being, a lot of people say, are sadly more, you know, animation driven than anything else. And so it's sort of at the expense of the controls often. I also like that once you go into the animation of... What? Once you go into the animation of this, like, stacking, you can't get hurt. You're kind of invincible for a second, which is kind of nice. Alright, I guess my health is doing okay. I wanted that fish bone. Alright, let's go back. Ooh, 1 up. Nice. Never a bad thing. A pretty classically good thing in all of video games. Whoa, come on. I like that you can get on top of the tires when they're rolling towards you. That's nice. Secrets? Secrets? Nope. Nope. More health. Nice. Oh! Secret! Oh, wait. Here we go. Can we still get up there? Nope. Oh, wait. Maybe we can. Let's see if it'll... Yeah, I think they're gonna get stuck. What if I do... and then that? Oh! Chrome went up there. Okay, so they each have different sort of... oh! Special team moves, which is cool. So what's from special team moves? Oh, that's cool. It lets you see ahead. Oh, and you can even control it. That's cool. That's really cool. Oh, this game is awesome. I'm surprised I've never heard about this before. So yeah, here's where we would switch to Oblina so we can get a little more height. Why is she doing that? There we go. Yeah, this game's really cool. I'm glad somebody brought up Real Monsters earlier so I could play this. Ickis is a little smaller, he can probably fit through here. Oh. Ow, what? Spinning fans. This level's really long. I will say the one thing I'm not a huge fan of is like when you lose your teammate characters, that when they come flashing back towards you, they kind of, you know, they're flashing on top of you, so it almost kind of gives the feeling like you've gotten hit even when you haven't. Oh, I need that health. And I make that, yes. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh, and I can... oh, nice, okay. I can bend down and pick up the roaches, which are also health. Nice. I think in the show, Ickis always loved to eat the roaches. I just have to use the... oh, no, I can use our friend Oblina to get up there. Like that. Just turn this off if it'll hit it. Now can we... okay, so now that's a... oh! Oh, come on. Oh wait, hold on, this is nope, can't fit. Guess I have to listen to the arrow. No. What the heck? No, get over it. Ah. Okay, it didn't restart me from the beginning of the level, thank goodness. I thought that it might. Alright, I'm going this way this time. Alright, got a shoe. I don't know if that's what we needed, but... Oh, and the exit. Nice. Alright, got to the end of that one. Alright, I think that is a great place to end it. Alright. So, thanks again so much for watching the stream. Thanks again to the folks at Plot Armor Studios for showing off doing their retrospective on the development of Third Power, their game. Again, if you want to see that game, go down in the description of this video and click the description and download it on Steam. It is completely free to play. It is a free game. I shouldn't say it's free to play because that has certain connotations, but it is a free game, so check it out and play it, enjoy it, stream yourself playing it, and yeah, and if you want to see any of the stuff that we're up to, click all the links in the description, and if you want to support our work, then please do so on the Patreon. Go to the Patreon, please donate either $1 or $5 a month. It allows us to host cool events, continue running this awesome community, and continuing to hopefully support the development of awesome independent game development all over Philadelphia, and non-independent game development, you know, for that matter, any type of game development, I should say, whether people are paying for it completely out of their own pocket or they're getting the help of publishers or outside support. You know, we want to be part of it and we want to help folks to do so. So please help us in doing that by becoming a Patreon member on the Patreon or a Matreon member on the Matreon. Become a matron or a patron or whatever it is you feel like doing. So thanks again so much for watching. We really appreciate you being here. And, you know, again, please like the video, subscribe, and